some difficulties. I'm sorry.
My camera's not. Can you see me?
Nope, we cannot see you, Mr. Robinson, but we can hear you.
And we're live streaming.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome everyone to the March 2026 Citizens Police Review Board meeting. And I do apologize. I'm trying to work on my technical issues here with my camera. But I can go ahead and get started, and I can try to work on this simultaneously. I guess first order, do a roll call. Who's all present here today?
Dr. Gershio did notify that she was unable to attend this evening, but she will be here from April meetings forward. Whatever delayed her or kept her back on Tuesdays is over. Mr. Robinson is present. Mr. Davis is present. Ms. Dixon is present. Mr. Kotler is present. Ms. Shields is present. And we have one vacancy in the law enforcement seat appointed by the mayor, which was vacated by Mr. Williams when he was appointed Public Safety Director.
All right. Any absent members? I know you have one excused with Dr. Gershio.
No one absent, sir.
Okay. With that, we can move to the approval of the minutes. I think the minutes were all submitted or shared with us maybe 2 weeks ago. If everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as approved.
Make the motion.
All right. No discussion or additions to the minutes? Can we get a second?
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the minutes from the last meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. With that, the minutes from our previous meeting are approved, and we can move on to opening remarks by the chair. As we heard, our chair, Dr. Gershio, is not with us this evening. I had no other remarks to share today. No. Other than I was somewhat concerned. I started a new job, but that should not interfere with my capacity here with the board. So I guess moving along, I guess outline tonight's events. I don't think we have any guests this evening. So we'll just go through our any board business followed by the case reviews. And then we'll obviously have some time at the end for some public comment. We will limit folks to 3 minutes should they need that time. So I guess first things up, we have reports, and no report from the chair that I'm aware of. And we can move to the report of the executive director.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson, and good evening, members. It's good to see everyone that's here. One of the outstanding issues that we've had for a couple of months was related to the solicitor's contract. I'm happy to report to you that the waiver has been approved. Authorization will be before City Council subcommittee tomorrow. And if it is approved at that level, it will be voted and finalized on Tuesday of next week. After that, there will just be a matter of language, and the solicitor issue will be resolved, and we will have a solicitor. The other issue that's been, I should tell you, our intake is 31 complaints thus far this year. 20 of those complaints remain pending citizen action. And the project that I think Ms. Mueller talked to you about before was related to ICE and creating some kind of a resource packet for individuals in the community and how to conduct themselves in a safe manner so that if ICE should appear and should there be an ICE encounter, that individuals will know how to protect their own civil rights and to remain safe and protect those people around them. We have a staff meeting tomorrow, and at that point, we're going to try to finalize the language so we can get to the printer the language of the resource material and put together packets that we can distribute throughout the community at large. We have a couple places that take a lot of our material and distribute it, one being the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers. They typically will take hundreds of whatever we have and distribute to their teachers through the schools. And that's how we get distributed to the school district, the kids, the families, and the teachers. So we hope to have that all ready to go, except for the printing tomorrow. And once that's done, then those packets will be put together and distributed. And along the lines of the ICE discussion today, I don't know if you've heard, but Councilors Warwick, Gross, and Strasburger did present a proposal to City Council today that would prohibit the use of city resources, city personnel, city property, any city asset to further the cause or to assist in enforcing any immigration laws, any immigration activities in the city. That includes barring, giving city employees the authority to bar ICE agents from entering non-public areas. It sounds like it's very similar to what Allegheny County recently adopted, which prohibits any employee assistance towards ICE based or any discrimination based on immigration status. The police have relied on their anti-discrimination, non-discrimination policy. It's under revision right now. In fact, I received a draft of it today. So I think they're trying to tighten that up a bit. In the past, you may recall that we reported to you, and I believe the chief and previous chiefs have reported to this board, that they rely on their non-discrimination policy to make the distinction between, for local officers, for City of Pittsburgh police officers, to provide any kind of assistance or relief or engage in any immigration enforcement. Immigration enforcement is related to federal law only. It's a civil issue. It's not a criminal issue. Our current chief of police, and those before him, have maintained that City of Pittsburgh police officers will respond to someone who is in need, and they have never qualified that to be a federal agent, any other police agent working on behalf of immigration, or if it's a civilian who is in need. And I think they're trying to tighten that up a bit, but they also have to be very cautious because it could put officers in a very dangerous situation in terms of being, if they fail to intervene, that they could be in trouble for failing to intervene. And then they could get sued, and there could be a whole lot of rigmarole attached to that. So it's not as straightforward as some of us would hope. But the city is trying to craft a policy that will protect the interests of everybody involved and yet not become an accomplice to enforcing a federal law, which is beyond the jurisdiction of the City of Pittsburgh Police. There were a couple of incidents in the city that got some notoriety related to ICE activity. We have open investigations into both of those incidents, so I'm limited to what I can say about it right now because we're still trying to establish the facts. But I can assure you that our staff are very astute in monitoring and becoming aware of where information might be for people who may be facing some problems with ICE, and also in terms of evidence related to incidents that have actually occurred. One of the incidents that happened recently in the city resulted in an activist group, Steel City Anti-Fascist League, obtaining copies of body-worn camera video. And that body-worn camera video came from the district attorney's office. Some of you may recall and we're still struggling with this with the city, that in 2017, the state legislature adopted a statute that limited free public access to body-worn camera video. There's a 2-track way of obtaining video, and there's a delegation of authority and access to video at the chief of police discretion, and with the permission or with the assistance of the local district attorney, determining what can be released. And then in addition to that, there's a separate track for information to be released from the police, as opposed to a general open records request. With the police situation, which it could include body-worn camera, there is an option to go to court to enforce or to appeal to the court to issue an order to release certain video. But there are requirements within that that are somewhat onerous, like precisely who might appear in that video, specific times, things that would make for a general ordinary individual, they wouldn't have access to that information. I don't know who would, but that's part of the way of you keeping things out of the hands of the public. This particular situation is in 2017, the city signed an agreement with the district attorney. Item 1 of that agreement says specifically that while the DA is becoming the repository and the control of access to the body-worn camera video, it should not apply to administrative misconduct investigations. That's where we come into our argument with the city that by right, we have access to that. That's a whole other issue. It doesn't apply to the ICE stuff, but that's the conundrum that we're dealing with in terms of policy. This public group filed a open records request of the district attorney for body-worn camera video related to an ICE interaction. The district attorney released that body-worn camera video to this group. The group then extracted from that photos of the individual city of Pittsburgh police officers that were nearby, identified them by name, and then subsequently doxed them. They put their name and their addresses out there into the public view. That's a very dangerous situation. It amounts to a private retaliation for public acts, which is one of the reasons that you exist. Public accountability for a public act by a public servant vis-a-vis police officer conduct. Where that all goes, I don't know. Certainly, who knows? But it, as a practice, is a very dangerous thing. We saw that happen in 2020 after George Floyd. That homicide, where locally we had a lot of protest activity in a neighborhood, a residential neighborhood, because where the mayor lived at the time, and that disrupted the entire neighborhood. A few years ago, we had an individual police officer who was identified in an alleged use of force incident. I believe it was also related to a protest. And that individual officer was identified. The address was identified, and protesters just inundated that neighborhood, which ended up frightening not only the officer's family, but his neighbors and the whole surrounding area. And that's why having that distinction between between a public and a private act makes sense. Because what we do in public and we do on behalf of the public should be held accountable in the public view, not privately. So that's a part of the controversy that surrounds that particular incident. Our staff have been involved. I understand there's been some reference to us along the way as well. If the board wants us to handle these situations in a different manner, just please tell us. But that's pretty much, we're staying right smack in the middle, and we're looking at things that we need to establish what the facts are of a particular situation. It's worth noting that our inquiries, our investigations into these 2 incidents are initiated by us as longstanding practice of the board, expecting that if there's a controversial incident, that we will be aware and we will investigate and report back to you what we find. And at that point, you can determine whether it's a matter that you want to take to a public hearing or not. So that's what's underway now. We initiated those inquiries. We're conducting them, and we will do whatever we need to do to establish what transpired and report back to you in April what the what investigators have found related to those incidents and any that others that may come along. Any questions about our ICE situation?
Not a
Yeah.
question, but
Go ahead.
more a
Go ahead.
comment. And first, I want to thank you, Beth. I see you on the news. You do a fantastic job of representing the board. Just thank you. It's frustrating to me that this video was released when I hear over 2 years now the difficulty our investigators have with obtaining body-worn camera. And to see that this is just easily handed out by the DA's office is a bit frustrating and a little concerning as well.
Mr. Kotler, we attempted to go the route of requesting through the process that's outlined. And it came back that it was going to cost us several hundreds of dollars just to even identify what the video was that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
That was a ludicrous thing, a ludicrous idea to spend taxpayer money for one taxpayer agency to request and get something that belongs to the city of Pittsburgh, which is taxpayer funded, and then to go to the county, separately elected official funded by the taxpayer. So that's where we stepped back and said, no, this has to be a fight that we take by right, as established under the the enabling legislation and all of the subsequent chartered amendment and all of that sort of thing. That by right we have we should have access to that, and even under their own agreement, which is where we really fell out with the city. And remember, at that time, that particular administration did not want to do anything that would cause any ripple or any commotion with the district attorney. And so when we pointed out, item 1 says, excuse me, that it does not apply to the administrative investigation of misconduct, that right there should open the door for our staff to continue to view the video that we have looked at for years and years and years and years. And then, of course, we had a change in administration. Now, Solicitor Marcus is installed. She and I have had some casual conversation about this. She did ask that she could get herself settled in as a city solicitor, and then Alec and I will go to see her and we'll try to reckon some process. We also have the support and, of course, the advantage in that the Director of Public Safety is aware of what obstacles are not receiving that material has meant to the work of this board, because he saw it firsthand. We also don't have any particular public objection from the management of the police either. So I think we're going to be okay with that. And I hope that when we come back in April, I'll have some positive news to report on that. But thank you, Mr. Kotler. It is terribly frustrating for our investigators as well. Thank you. Mr. Davis, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Sorry.
No, Mr. Kotler got directly to the question I was going to ask, and you answered it subsequently. I was just going to ask, was there a time frame as far as when you guys would meet up, or would that just be at the next meeting that you provide?
I'm hopeful between now and the next board meeting in April, we will have something instructive to tell you.
Thank you.
And remember, our investigators had a whole protocol established, and they had access. They viewed the video. So this isn't something that we're going in and asking for something new. This is, for some reason, this was disrupted and it was withheld from us all of a sudden. So this administration cannot answer for that, nor would we expect them to. But what our hope is that we can construct a protocol that will endure any future changes in administrations, and even maybe we could approach City Council about codifying that kind of material as available and accessible to the board, because it is not mentioned specifically, because at the time that the board was established, that body-worn camera was just a pipe dream. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. That's all I have.
I did have a question. I apologize. I lost some audio there for a moment. You may have addressed this in your remarks to Mr. Kotler. I also saw your interview on, I forget which telecast or newscast that was, but basically the discussion about like our board could be the appropriate venue for the community if they see stuff like this and have issues. I know you had shared that we were looking at that, but could we also use that as an opportunity to kind of promote the board in that sense? Like maybe not for that specific incident, but like, yeah, we don't want people doxing officers. If you have a complaint about an officer, there is a mechanism. Here it is. Check us out. Don't know if you were able to incorporate that in your interview, if that came up, or if that's something we would want to do, or maybe not.
No, I agree with you, Mr. Robinson, and our investigators have been spreading the word. There are a lot of groups out there, a lot of parties that are interested in this issue, and also that are very wary of people knowing anything about them. So we have to be cautious in terms of protecting that side of their interest. I did mention that it was noteworthy that none of these people that have something to say about this came and filed a complaint with the board. I mean, that's not unusual. We're finding that the more controversial an issue is, the less likely people are to come to you and tell you about it because you might be able to do something about it. But I do mention that whenever I'm asked or interviewed, I do. And I know that our investigators are spreading the word about us. I think the packets that I described earlier will also provide an avenue for people to reach out to us. You know, we can also handle things, and we have, anonymously and confidentially. The anonymous side of it presents a compromise to the requirement that the person be identified, we know how to find them, and they're under perjury and all of that sort of thing. But when we receive anonymous information, we can develop that into whether it's something that has reasonable cause attached to it or not. And if it does have something, we pursue it on your behalf as an internally initiated complaint, a case that we will look into just because it seems like there's something there. And I think some of that, our staff have been very astute in recognizing the little things that might indicate a bigger problem, and they do chase those things down. But as far as getting people to come to us, I mean, I don't know how else to do it. Our outreach is we're where we can be. I don't know what else we can do, Mr. Robinson, although we'll do whatever. If you guys have ideas, we'll be certainly happy to roll them out.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for the director?
One quick comment. Beth had recently mentioned the potential of us approaching City Council to have our access to body-worn cameras codified. I understand it's a new administration. It takes time for things to happen, and by all means, we should be patient. However, just forward thinking, we ought to consider that and maybe ensure that in years to come, we still have that access and we don't lose it like we have.
That's a high priority, Mr. Kotler, and we'll keep that front and center.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I think we have, let me go back to the agenda here. Sorry.
It's up, Mr. Robinson. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So we had the executive director's report. Any unfinished business? And not hearing any old business? And lastly, any new business? And of note, we can introduce new business here, but we won't deliberate it here. All right, moving along. No guests this evening. We'll get into the case reviews. I think we have 14 cases this evening. And I did want to just check. I noticed Ms. Hampton, I guess in the little heading there, it says 2 for full investigation, but it looks like there's actually 3. But yeah, so for those, we have 3 cases recommended by the staff for authorization for full investigation. Those are cases 02726ED, 01826ED, and 01526. Do I have a motion to accept these 3 cases and authorize a full investigation?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Can I get a second?
Second motion.
All right. Any questions or debate? Hearing none.
Question
Yes.
for 027-26 ED. Is that complaint from 2024? Or is this coming up? Or is that because of the news article?
It's in response to the news article.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But that incident was, when was the incident was back then, right?
Yes, that's correct. February
Yeah,
of
there was some
2024.
timelines that were missed from that person. Okay. All right. Any other questions, Mr. Davis?
No, that was it.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Those 3 cases are authorized for full investigation. Next, we have 6 cases with a recommendation for an authorized for 30-day extension. Those are cases 01226, 01126, 22325, 21625, 20825, and 20725. I have a motion to authorize 30-day extensions for these cases.
I'll make a motion.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Any question or discussion around these cases? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. The above listed cases are approved for a 30-day extension. And we have 2 cases on here that were unfounded. And so we have case 22425, case 15925, with a recommendation to authorize dismiss as unfounded. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Any comment or discussion around these 2? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Those 2 cases, the motion is passed. Looks like we also have 1 case here, unsustainable. Case 21025. Again, looking for a motion to authorize to dismiss this as unsustainable.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions or concerns about this one? I guess I just have one comment, I guess, and I think I know this, but Could we just get a quick explanation of the difference between unfounded and unsustainable?
Unfounded generally means that something that may have occurred may look not good, but in fact is not against policy. So that there's no violation of policy involved, even though it may not be, look terrific, it's still not a policy violation, so it's unfounded. The officer can't be found to have violated policy if there wasn't a violation of policy. Unsustainable generally means that no reasonable person, based on those facts, would find that there was misconduct involved. It's more of a reasonableness test.
Okay. Thank you.
And when there are unfounded cases, sometimes that results in a conversation between us and the Bureau related to a policy, that maybe there needs to be a policy needs to be considered, reevaluated, tweaked a little bit, or the training is deficient to fulfill the intent of the policy, at which point then the training academy is discussed with them about, how are you training people to do this or do that? And does it continue to be compatible with what the policy outlines? So which needs to be adjusted, policy or training? It doesn't just go by just because, it's been unfounded. If there's a question about why would it even be considered in the first place?
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And then
I will say in that case, I do want to add, I find it a little interesting that the officer claims that he was hit by the mirror, which broke the mirror, but that he also was very easy about letting the gentleman continue on. I don't know. That just seems a little bit strange, for strange behavior for a police officer that may have just been hit with a mirror outside the arena.
Is there anything the investigator wants to add that might explain that more?
Yeah. So with that case, where it happened, I contacted the surrounding agencies and whatnot to try to obtain CCTV footage, anything like that. And there just wasn't any. There was nothing to corroborate either one of them.
Yes. Oh, I understand that entirely. I read that. It's just for the officer to have said, oh gosh, what did he say? You need to stop when directed to. Not your general reaction if a cop was just hit with a mirror with such force that it broke the mirror. I think you'd be a little bit more upset. Just saying, I understand it's unsustainable. It sounds a little off.
Got it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kotler. We have two cases for other. Stephanie, are they both out of jurisdiction? Yeah. Okay. Two cases here. 01926 and 00826. Recommendation to dismiss these cases as they're out of jurisdiction. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions or comment or discussion?
Just a question on 011926. Is the physical location downtown?
Yes, it was. However, the Penn Society Bar contracts their extra security with an Allegheny County law enforcement agency. It is not City of Pittsburgh Police that restricted that complainant.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And we were able to verify that by both talking to security guards that work there, And then also the complainant's partner who was with her has video, and you're able to clearly see the patches. They're not City of Pittsburgh. I believe it's Allegheny County Housing Authority, and we referred that out to the Allegheny County Review Board.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. That motion is approved. And then I think lastly, we've got several cases on here with continued suspension. I think some of these have been around for a little while time. Cases 13125, 12725, 11125 ED, 06325, 04525, 03725 ED, 02625, 00225 ED, 00125 ED, 16924, 16124, 12524 ED, 01724 ED, 01424 ED, 08323, 04923, 18122, 17721, and 8718 ED. That's the extent of them. So all those have been suspended, and obviously there's different factors or considerations that we are still waiting for. We don't need to take any official action on those, but I think we might have discussed a little bit about that last time. But yeah, I guess if we get some updates, those will come back to us. I think that concludes all the cases we have for our case review. And returning back to our agenda. And thank you, Ms. Hampton, for keeping up, letting me read those cases.
You're welcome.
Announcements, our next meeting, 6 p.m. next April 28th via Zoom. Again, they're open to the public. Links are shared at our the Police Review Board's website, Facebook page, and our X feed. Previous meetings, videos, minutes are also kept on the webpage. And board meetings will continue to be held virtually until further notice. I know we've had a couple in person lately. Did we discuss another one for this year being in person?
Yes. Stephanie, did we assign a date for those? Yeah.
So we said TBD, I thought, but we were
Right.
saying spring and summer.
Yes. So potentially May or June, and
June, July. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the preference for the board? Why don't we just decide that now?
I was gonna say rather probably make that call.
Yeah.
I'd say so long as we have the ability to zoom in the event somebody's off on vacation, yeah, I'm fine with whatever.
So shall we assign June and October or September?
I think all things being equal, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't think so. I don't know if anybody else has any reason to go with other than June and October.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's fine. June, October.
June and October. All
Terrific.
right. And I know we've done a couple different locations. We want to decide what area of town we'd like to do. I know obviously we want to have the technical capabilities but I know we met in the Hill District, and I think there was another neighborhood which I missed that one or I couldn't attend in person. We've been obviously downtown as well.
We've been to Miss Shields and we've been to Grayson. Grayson, we have a credit at Grayson. I think it's still available, the credit.
And that's still up on the hill, but there's parking. And Hazelwood was Miss Shields, so that was that end of town. We'd be looking at either, I don't know, we haven't been to the north side in a long time. And we haven't been,
Zone 5.
As long as I know the date, I can welcome the space again.
I can probably secure a location on the north side if we want to come to this side of town.
okay. Would you prefer June or October?
I'll shoot for June. Yeah, I'll take on June.
Okay, super. And then we have October. Maybe do you want to check with the Grayson Center if we have a credit, then maybe we could use it?
Yes, I'll reach out to them tomorrow.
I mean, we're going back to zone 2 to the hill area, but we also have we have a resource there.
Yeah, makes sense.
We should probably use it so we don't lose it. Well, then let's check on that. And if we do, then we'll let everybody know for October. Otherwise, we'll let everybody know we need another location. Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
Thank you all for that. And I guess moving on the agenda, public comment. Do we have anybody with us this evening?
Mark and Trish, say hello.
Hello, Mark and Trish.
Hello.
Mr. Robinson, I would like to congratulate you on your new position. I think it's wonderful that somebody with your background and your compassion for the youth in our area will actually have that role of advocacy and have an eye on what's happening for them. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful place for you to be. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Super excited about the opportunity. Been in there a little over 2 weeks now, trying to meet some of the players and realizing there was a void there. DHS has not historically had anything to do with detention. And this whole, what I'm hearing when they decided to open this up and award it to a private provider, they kind of just landed it in DHS's lap at that point. So they have no expertise, little experience in any of that system. And so I'm presuming that's why they posted that position, and I'm quickly finding, I've been able to jump right in and obviously add some insight and share some stuff with many stakeholders already. I already had some productive conversations with the juvenile probation office, the newly chosen, I don't know how they were picked, chief probation officer was a probation officer who I'd worked with over 10, 15 years ago. So still have those relationships down there to work with them pretty closely. I know they've got some specific interest in the detention center. So yeah, really looking to make sure that that's again, kind of juvenile detention. We obviously look at it as a corrections minded type thing or in the justice field, but at the end of the day, it's still another county service. And basically we want to make sure that the folks that are using that service, the kids that are up there and the families are still getting the best services that they can get, even within that context. So thank you, Director.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. It's also very reassuring that you're in that place. It's awesome. So thank you for being there.
Thank you. All right. With that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Anybody want to question or belabor this? And if not, all those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And on my clock, looks like we are adjourned at 8:50 or 6:53.
Good night.